Hey guys, Chuck Barone here, Thursday, July the 7th, 2022. And another fascinating day in the markets again today. All kind of stuff to talk about today. This show's a little bit different. We're recording this show a little bit early. Right now it's about 12:15 Pacific time, so the markets still have about 45 minutes to go. So we won't be able to get to the close of the markets today, but let me bring you up to date on what's happening in the markets so far, pending this last 45 minutes of trading. The stock market today is having a really good day, a nice broad-based rally. The S&P up 1.5%. The NASDAQ up above over 2% today. The Dow kind of hanging in there, not having a great day, but it's nice to see, if the market's going to rally, it's nice to see it rallying a little bit more broadly than in such a narrow as the 30 Dow industrial stocks. In the bond market right now, the 10-year is above 3%. It's down from its high of 3.5% in the face of these interest rate increases that have been happened and are going to continue to happen. At least that's what they're saying. This is still defying gravity. I think we're due for a little bit more increase in the yield. It's going to be a very interesting Fed meeting in July. We'll see if the Fed actually has the stones to come up with another 3 quarters like they've said. If they do, I think it's going to be a pretty big shock to the bond market, which already seems to be thinking that rates are not going to go up very quickly, and I think they're already seeing it like almost time to start bringing rates back down. I think they're going to be disappointed. We'll all find out soon enough later this month. Oil today had a nice rally. West Texas crude up over 4% to over $102 per barrel. Natural gas had a big rally today, up 13%. So a little bit of relief for our friends in these commodities ETFs. This should help you guys have a little bit of a gain today. The metals market basically flat, I think reflecting the strong dollar. Gold's up just fractionally. Silver basically flat. Last I saw was down a penny. I think this is still the result of the dollar sitting at above 107 on the dollar index. Didn't really move very much up or down today, but it's still in a very strong position relative to the rest of the world's currencies. And I think while the dollar stays elevated like this, having days like today are good days in the metals market. And as the dollar comes down to earth, I think that's when we'll see a rally coming up in these metals. Bitcoin had a great day today, up over 21,000. This could be a little bit of a breakout, so let's see where this goes over the tomorrow and into next week. I think Bitcoin might be due for a little bit of a bounce coming up. It's certainly had a pretty steep decline, so any little bit of relief for Bitcoin holders, I'm sure, is welcome. Today we've had some crazy news. As usual, mixed signals all around about this inflation, about this recession. I'm observing some crazy stuff, guys. I mean, it really is something. So first they want to keep you kind of wondering what the heck's going on. So first they play this big distraction game where they create these news events that are really essentially meaningless in your life, but they find a way to stir you up. So today's big distractions, what are they? First, the news that Boris Johnson resigned as the Prime Minister of England in the United Kingdom. That's a big whoop. I think everybody kind of has seen that coming for a little bit of time here. The other big distraction today, this basketball player, Brittany Griner, over there in Russia. They were going crazy, calling this a political thing, trying to get the president involved in this, and then what happens today? She goes to court and she pleads guilty. So a lot of these events that they kind of grab everybody's attention with, but are essentially meaningless in your life ultimately, and especially in your financial life, which right now should be the thing you're focusing on the most importantly. Then they go to this Federal Reserve mealy-mouthed bullshit game where they're kind of misdirecting all over the place. So what do I mean by that? What have we seen so far? Well, first it was the Fed saying, well, we're not really seeing signs of any sustained inflation, any kind of real sustained price increases. Then it was inflation fears are overblown. And the Fed's real concern was deflation, right? We remember that one? Then it was inflation is transitory, and they all kind of were spouting that. We had to listen to that for a couple of days, right? The inflation will be short-lived and limited. Then it was peak inflation is here. Don't worry, we've already peaked out, and now it's going to do nothing but go down from here. The problem will go away soon. Then it was, well, troubling signs on the inflation stuff here, but it's all supply chain related. It's all about supply chains and has nothing to do with policy and us flooding the world with dollars. It's, we're going to get this fixed. Once the supply chain gets straightened out, it'll all go away. Then it was, uh-oh, well, maybe we need to do something about this with our policy and start to realize where we're really at and tighten rates. Okay, so that was like, oh, wow. So then it was like, guys, don't worry, we're going to only have to raise rates a little bit and everything will be fixed. We'll get this inflation in order really quick. Then it was, ooh, well, we might have to cause some pain in the economy to get this inflation under control. But don't worry, there won't be a recession, right? Remember that one? Then it was, well, maybe there'll be a recession. But if there is, it'll be shallow and brief, right? So now they're going to tell us, the story, I mean, it's like watching a moving picture. It makes you dizzy thinking about it, right? Then it was, well, we're going to, it might, the recession will be here, right? And then it's going to be, well, we're committed to fighting inflation. So if it causes a recession, so be it, because our number one thing is getting inflation back. Now where are we at? Listening to the Bloomberg Comedy Hour this morning, we're back to peak inflation again. Now it's hopefully, after this rate increase in July, which they're thinking might be a lot less than what's been promised, they're already starting to talk about cutting rates again and adding stimulus to the economy. Know this, guys. Every recession or depression is always the result of one thing. It's bad policy by government. If it's not, prior to the Federal Reserve was the Congress and the Treasury. Post the Jekyll Island, the creature from Jekyll Island, it's been the Federal Reserve. So let's look at some of these big panics and recessions and depressions we've dealt with over the course of the last century or so. The big one in 1907, basically a liquidity crisis, where the Treasury basically was out of money and had to be bailed out by J.P. Morgan. Crazy. That led then to 1913, Jekyll Island, and the creation of the Federal Reserve and the income tax. Then we had the big Great Depression of the 1930s, which was kind of related to the gold standard and a liquidity crisis because of that gold standard. And that was a big deflationary problem where everything just crashed and lasted a decade. Then we had the big 1972, was not really a depression, could have felt like it because it lasted so long, but they're calling it the Great Recession of 72. And that was all about the oil shocks and the oil embargoes and oil going up. So how did the Fed respond to that? Open the spigots, flood the system with money, creating the giant inflation that came at the end of the 70s into the 80s. Then we had 1982. Inflation finally gets tamed. Interest rates sitting at about 17%, which led to almost 4 decades of pretty much price cuts as they took the rates down from 17 to 0. Okay? Then came 2000, the dot-com bust. And again, how did the Fed respond to that? I know, let's flood the system with money. We can't have, a recession, so we're seeing no signs of inflation, so let's just put more money in. Which led then to giant speculation in real estate and the big housing crash in 2008. That was pretty deflationary in real estate. So what was the Fed's response to that? Same as always, flood the system with money, more money. Remember when Ben Bernanke the nickname that he had was Helicopter Ben, because he promised that he would literally throw money out of a helicopter to stop anything, any deflationary cycle. Then we have today. Here we are, a looming recession, depression. Well, I was doing a little bit of research on what is the real exact difference between a recession and a depression. And basically the difference is a recession is a contraction in the economy for 2 consecutive quarters or more. A depression typically is measured in years, not months, and is deeper, more severely deeper than recessions, but not always. I mean, some of these recessions are deep too. They just don't last as long as a depression does. Now we're hearing this newest thing from the Fed that we're going to have, they're engineering a soft landing. Have you guys heard this one? Yeah, we're going to have a soft landing, guys. It's all going to work out. When you hear the word soft landing, picture this in your mind. You know that famous picture of the Hindenburg exploding into flame? When they say soft landing, that's what I want you to picture in your mind, because that's exactly what it's going to be. Now, this event's different because it's a worldwide event. I think that, we have geopolitical issues that are contributing to this. And I got a funny feeling, if once this recession starts, the Fed's going to go back to basically their favorite play, and they're going to start pumping the system back up, more stimulus, more money, rate cuts, trying to keep the whole thing floating, and we're going to start the cycle all over again. It's going to be fascinating to watch it when you have inflation and a recession at the same time. It really puts these finance guys and the Federal Reserve and bankers and Treasury in a very, very tough spot. And it's just going to be fascinating to see how these lily-livered cowards are going to deal with this. Because no matter what they do, they're going to make people unhappy. There's no simple answer to what's coming up here, guys. So what should we be doing? What should we do to prepare and get ready for this? Well, we've already been talking about this stuff over the course of this since this blog started. The first thing we need to do is start to live within our means. Start to save money, even if it's the little tiniest amount. A good target to shoot for to get started is 10% of your income. So if you're making, $3,000 a month, $300 should be your target. Now I know that's kind of a discouraging thing because first of all, it's hard to save $300 a month. And second of all, it just doesn't seem like it's very much. But what it does is it causes something to happen where as you see this little bit of money start to grow, pretty soon your 300 is 1,000, then it's 2,000, then it's 5,000. And as it starts to grow, you start to feel a little bit different than the person who doesn't have that $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 put away for tough times. So start to save your money. Learning to live within your means basically makes you recession-proof. Because you're already in abundance. The recession might make some stuff worse, but if you have a decent job or a decent business and you have an income and you're living within your means, this recession might cause some bad stuff, but it's not going to affect you the way it would if you're not prepared for it. The second thing we talked about doing is starting to build your nest egg, building your war chest. The target there is $25,000 to have that money liquid. So you know that in any eventuality, if you're living your life correctly, there really should be nothing that happens in your life that $25,000 won't get you through. Beware of the debt trap. We talked about that a little bit in yesterday's blog. Don't add additional debt right now. Do everything you can do to try to chip away at existing debt if you have it. Everything now in this whole economy and country is set up on a debt system. Everybody has to owe, everybody has to have payments, everything is pay. We need to get out of that cycle. We need to get back to what's natural, what's normal, not living on other people's money and paying these outrageous rates and payments, but living within your own means and trying to find a way to increase those means if you can, right? Also, be thoughtful. Be careful about the way you're spending your money. I'm not in any way suggesting you live some kind of miserly life, okay? If you're saving your 10%, spend the rest. Enjoy yourself. Do the things you can do within your means, okay? But be thoughtful. Be careful about the way you spend your money. Try not to do things impulsively and, try to look for value when you're spending your money. If you already have your $25,000 war chest, because I know a lot of you guys that are listening to this are way further advanced than the starters are, invest that money very, very carefully. Invest it defensively, especially right now where the object is to preserve your principal, preserving the money you're putting in. Holding on to that is more important right now than shooting for big gains. Back when I was a young guy just getting started, trying to start my 10% up, one of the first things I did was I looked at my expenses. And one glaring one that stood out for me was lunch every day. You know, being in the finance business, lunch was always a big deal every day. We certainly were not going to Wendy's or McDonald's. And I looked at my expenses and I saw that I was spending $400 a month almost on lunch every month. I figured that I could save some money there. So what I started doing, and what I still do to this day, bring my lunchbox with me. And I found two things there. Number one, I'm saving myself $400 a month, plus the expense of the lunch I bring. And number two, I'm actually eating better and healthier. So, you know, there's so many ways you can do it to get yourself started, put your money away, do the right things, and then this recession will be in your rearview mirror and you'll be all the better for it. Remember, guys, no one is coming to save us. Not the government, not anybody state and locally. No one's got your back. You do. And the people you learn from, the people, your mentors, your advisors, so to speak, take their advice wisely. Do the right things now. Down the road, you'll be glad you did. I appreciate you listening to my rant today. I'm really concerned about everybody being in so much debt and having these payments hanging over their head in the face of this recession. Take care of yourselves, guys. Let's look out. As always, if you like the videos, if you like what you're hearing here, hit the like button. Again, comments and questions. I've been getting on there more every day, trying to answer your questions and respond to your guys' comments. You guys are awesome about doing that. Please continue to do so. If you have your own YouTube channel, share this with your subscribers. Let them know what you're hearing and maybe can even expand on some of this stuff and some of the stuff you're doing that's working for you to prepare for this recession. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to ring the bell so you get these notifications when our new videos are coming out. As always, I appreciate your support. You guys are the very best. I feel blessed to have you guys. I'm going to do my very best to get this show useful to you, something you can use, practical, and try to improve the show every day. We'll see you tomorrow. If anything changes in this market between now and the close, we'll review that in the morning and tomorrow. And until then, my friends, have a great day. Thank you.